Welcome back, Sebastian here. So today I'm going to be talking about Mercedes and their start to the 2023 Formula One season. So let's go through each race result for each driver, race by race. So in the Bahrain Grand Prix, Hamilton finished 5th and Russell finished 7th. So not a great race for Mercedes. Their tire wear and their tire management was markedly worse than both the Red Bull and the Aston Martin. Second race of the season, result was a bit much better for them. Russell finished 4th and Hamilton finished 5th. Third race of the season, Australian Grand Prix. I think this was the race where Mercedes have shown the best pace so far this season. They were very close to the Red Bulls in qualifying, a bit further off in the race, but still quite close. Russell, unfortunately for him, retired, and Hamilton finished 2nd. Next race of the season, Azerbaijan, Russell finished 8th in the main race, 4th in the sprint race, and Hamilton finished 6th and 7th in the sprint. Most recent race, Miami Grand Prix, Russell finished 4th and Hamilton finished 6th. So now looking at the head-to-head between the two drivers, which I think undoubtedly is one of the strongest driver lineups in Formula One right now. Russell has 40 points to Hamilton's 56. In the race head-to-head, where both drivers finished the race, they were 2 and 2. In the qualifying head-to-head, though, it's 4-1 for Russell. And the average gap in qualifying is 0.155 seconds in favor of George Russell. Now, I think in the races, they've been very close. I think Hamilton's maybe been a bit better on average in the races, but I think in qualifying, Russell's been quite a bit better than Hamilton. And a 1.5 tenth gap is nothing to scoff at, especially with two drivers of that caliber. So I think for both drivers, though, I think they've had very good starts to the seasons, and I think that's reflected in my average power ranking score to start this season. Russell has on average been ranked 6.6, whereas Hamilton has been 6.2. Now looking at Mercedes in the constructors, last year after 5 races, they had 95 points. This year, extremely similar, 96 points after 5 races. However, the good news for Mercedes fans is that their gap to pole has decreased quite a bit from last year. Last year, it was 0.953 seconds. This year, it's 0.679 seconds. So they've cut down that gap to pole on average by about a third of a second. However, the bad news for Mercedes is that last year, that gap would have put them 3rd, behind only Red Bull and of course Ferrari. This year it puts them 4th behind Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Ferrari. So out of the big 4 teams right now, they're probably the slowest in qualifying, despite having probably one of the best driver lineups. And then I would say in qualifying, Russell is probably a bit better than Alonso is right now, despite Alonso's incredible successes in the races. So I think for Mercedes, I think they're incredibly fortunate to have such a strong driver lineup in such a tight fight that they have right now. I think it's arguably better than Hamilton and Bottas. And I think, if we had this tight of a fight between 2nd and 4th with Bottas in there instead of Russell, I think it may put Mercedes in the back foot, because I think on pace in qualifying, they're the slowest out of those 4 teams. In the races, they're probably 3rd or 4th, depending on the race, usually 3rd. But I think their driver lineup is so strong, and their second driver, if you compare Russell, who's 2nd in points right now, to both Sainz and Stroll, who are the number 2 drivers of the other teams, I think he's quite a bit better. So I think that despite having not the 2nd best car, I think they have a very good chance of finishing 2nd in the constructors this year, which I think will be their goal. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.